Hello, listeners, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about My Lady Jane. My Lady Jane blew up on the internet this past year as a new and upcoming series. I remember seeing a lot of fan edits and compilations on Instagram, but ultimately what got me to watch it was a comparison saying that it was a steamy version of Pride and Prejudice. Due to Pride and Prejudice being one of the classic and most notable enemies to lovers stories, I of course had to check out and see what all the hype was about. About the show. My Lady Jane is a Prime Video series that contains 8 episodes. The real history of Lady Jane. Lady Jane was a real woman in history that ruled England for a short time after the death of her cousin, King Edward. The show, however, does not follow an accurate representation on history. Although all the characters we are following are real historical figures, none of the stories or themes shown in the show are real historical representations of what happened. The show instead takes an entirely new twist on history. We follow Jane, a young, beautiful woman, as she is being forced to marry, only to then unexpectedly be thrown into the role of queen overnight, and is now a target for those who want the throne. Characters and their relationships. First, we have Jane. Jane is a beautiful, strong, and fiercely independent woman who wants nothing more but the freedom to adventure. Life has other plans, however, when she is forced to marry and then thrown into power as Queen of England. What makes Jane such a great character is that despite everything that she goes through, she never loses herself. She continues to fight for the right thing no matter what it may cost her. She is not perfect and can be quite impulsive and irrational. However, even though she may not do everything the right way, her intentions are always for the right reasons, making her a very relatable and likable character. Next, we have Guildford. Guildford is Jane's new husband. He is your typical sexy, mysterious bad boy who also strives for adventure and independence. Another twist is that we come to find out that he is also an Ethian. In the world of Lady Jane, there are 2 kinds of humans. You have the Verities, which are your standard everyday humans. Then there are humans that have the ability to shapeshift into animals, meaning a human can then shapeshift into a bird or a bear. However, an Ethian can only shapeshift into one animal. Ethians do not have the ability to imitate all animals. They each have their own ability of what they can change into. For Guildford, he becomes a horse. The Ethians are looked upon as the mistake of mankind. They are viewed upon in society as less than and are often outcast or are forced to hide their abilities. Guildford is indeed an Ethian, but he is not the typical Ethian as he has not been able to control his abilities to change. He is stuck as a human by night and as a horse by day. Guildford's journey throughout the show is him trying to hide and get rid of his Ethian powers. I found this part of the show quite frustrating as I thought the Ethian's abilities were quite cool and couldn't understand why he actually wanted to get rid of his abilities. Guildford was so adamant about eliminating his abilities as an Ethian altogether, which makes a lot of sense as it created a real problem for him, and Ethians are quite shunned upon in society. However, I thought the ability to go from human to animal was just too cool and couldn't understand why he wanted to completely get rid of it. I was constantly yelling at the screen, trying to be like, no, don't get rid of your abilities, just try and control them. Like, that's all you need to do is control your abilities, don't get rid of them. Because if he had just learned to control them, he might find that they are actually quite useful and have a lot of benefit. So I was really worried that one of the themes of the show was going to be him erasing his abilities rather than learning to control it. Guildford, of course, tries to hide what he is to Jane, but she finds out and thinks that it's actually rather cool and wants to help him with it. Jane and Guildford's relationship. Due to their own goals and ambitions in life, the idea of being married to one another causes an immediate dislike. Their unwillingness to give up pride for passion therefore only helps build the tension for their romance. Their unwillingness to give in to one another makes it that much more better when they finally do. They also had a nice supporting relationship. Guildford supported Jane when she was queen. He never once got jealous or mean over the power she held. Instead, he was rather happy for her and quite supportive. The overall build towards their romance was also very sweet, with lots of longing glances and subtle moments that only increased when they got together, like holding each other and passionate displays of affection towards one another. Mary. Mary is our main villain of the show. She is Edward's sister and believes that she should be queen. This makes her a threat to Jane, as she wants Jane's head so that she can be the only ruler of England. Mary was a piece of work to say the least, always scheming and a little bit crazy, like when she went rage and lost control in front of everyone in the middle of a party. Her villainy does not stop there, however, as her first order of business when she is crowned queen is to kill all Ethians. And to make matters worse, she is doing all of this with the help from Seymour. Seymour is a member of the king's court. He is actively trying to manipulate the king for his own wants. He is also Mary's right-hand man and secret lover. He is constantly in the background picking up the crumbs to Mary's plans to ensure that her schemes go off without a hitch. Mary and Seymour together. Mary and Seymour are an outrageous duo. Mary is high-strung and all-out determined to achieve her goals. Seymour is there to ensure that all of her schemes go smoothly, as he knows he will be included in her plans when she takes the throne. Even though these two are the villains of the show, due to their outrageous personalities and crazy schemes, actually come to make them quite an interesting, funny, and even enjoyable duo to watch, despite them being the villains. Honorable mention. I wanted to take a minute to talk about Stan. Stan is Guildford's brother, and when we first meet him, he comes off as prissy and quite arrogant. Though, as the show takes place, you find that he grows on you. He becomes more likable and a good comedic relief. He develops a secret love affair with Lady Frances, Jane's mother, that therefore adds more spice and comedy to the show. By the end of the show, you can see how he has matured and changed as he stands up for what was right, even if it is going against those he may like Lady Frances, or when it puts his own life in danger when he helps Guildford escape execution. And these are just some of the qualities that make him an honorable mention. But overall, he is just a really fun, funny time whenever on screen. Why anyone can like the show. My Lady Jane is a very versatile show and carries themes that anyone can enjoy. Firstly, it's not a serious show. It does still touch on some real harsh topics. There is still talk of people being beheaded and like Mary's plans to kill all Ethians just because they are different. These are just some of the harsh topics that I mentioned on the show, which is also one of the things that makes it very realistic and relatable for that time. However, as an overall theme of the show, it is promoted as a historical romantic comedy, which is exactly what it is. It tells us straight away that the show is not following real history, and instead is putting a twist and making their own version of events. Due to establishing this, therefore allow the show to be whatever it wanted to be. Didn't matter if the representation, clothing, technology, or events were inaccurate, as it already established that it was not trying to be serious or historically accurate, making it so that you can enjoy whatever the show throws your way. It has both male and female themes. Due to Jane and Guildford's relationship being more than just a romance, the characters themselves have their own wants, needs, and goals outside of each other and their romance, allowing male and female audiences to connect with their characters in their own and maybe deeper way. But I would have to say what I personally enjoyed most from the show would have to be the bluntness of its nature. From the narration to how the characters spoke and interacted with one another, the show was so outrageously blunt and random. They would swear and say the most randomly blunt comebacks to one another that made it incredibly enjoyable and funny to watch and kept you wanting more. Season 2. Somehow, despite all that we have discussed, despite all of its popularity, and despite all the talk and hype about the show, it was still not enough. My Lady Jane has been officially cancelled, and there will not be a season 2. This was very shocking despite the quality of the show and of course the popularity that it got. It blew up everywhere on social media and was getting talked about and had such a hype around it, but apparently not enough to bring it back for a season 2. There is still so much to see and so much we don't know. Like, is King Edward going to be able to reclaim his throne? Will Mary succeed in killing all of the Ethians, or will they band together and fight? What other havoc will Mary cause? And most importantly, what's next in store for Jane and Guildford's story? Will things be better or worse for Guildford now that he can control becoming an Ethian? So many questions and more that will never be answered. However, despite there being no season 2, I still highly encourage you to watch My Lady Jane, as season 1 really holds up and there is still plenty to enjoy.
That is all for this episode. As always, everything we discussed will be linked below along with my socials. Please be sure to like, subscribe and follow. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening.